conduct on every Fridays for 1 hour. My name is Preeti. I am one of the sales specialists at Protouch. Before we move ahead, let me give you a quick introduction about our institution. Protouch is a certification institute that provides upskilling courses to the professionals like HR generalists, HR analytics advanced certification program, POSH trainer to deliver POSH trainings, business analytics or manager certification, corporate trainer and facilitator trainer certification, certified practitioner coach certification, emotional intelligence trainer and coach certification, as well as organizational development and change management. We also provide customized programs. So all the programs are accredited by the topmost bodies like ICF, SHRM, HRCI, CPD, and IBEC. I'm so glad to see many existing students, team members, and aspiring students of Protouch who have joined this learning session. Now let's begin our learning session with Manjusha and Rashmi, our guest speakers of today's morning. I would like to take a moment to introduce everyone with our today's guest speakers. Manjusha, who has started her career as a sales representative, then transitioned to a call center executive role and eventually found her passion in training. With over 8 years of experience, including 5.5 years as a dedicated soft skill trainer, she has honed her ability to deliver impactful training sessions. Currently, she works as a freelancer, providing customized training programs to diverse audiences. Apart from her professional journey as a trainer, she is also a passionate baker and an entrepreneur, bringing creativity and dedication to every aspect of her work. Whereas Rashmi Bhatia is an experienced HR professional. She did her MBA from IIT Roorkee and is holding 12 plus years of experience in corporate HR roles in diverse industry verticals like IT, ES, pharma, and Ayurveda skincare. Her expertise lies in learning and development, employee engagement, talent acquisition, and other HR functions. Beyond her career, she is passionate about spiritual practices, yoga, and creative pursuits like baking, dancing, art, and craft. Known for her ongoing and fun-loving nature, she prioritizes empathy over ego and believes in staying authentic in every situation. She is now eagerly looking forward to make her mark in training. It's an honor to have Manjusha and Rashmi with us today morning. Over to you, Rashmi.
Thanks, Preeti, for such a kind introduction. Welcome, everyone. How are we all today?
Good. Great. Thank you.
I'm excited, actually.
So are we. Manjusha and me are really thrilled to have you, all of us, join today for this webinar, Master the Art of Creative Thinking. Right? So, what is your, definition of being creative or creative thinking? Yes, Sumang?
Okay, so for me, I think definition of creative thinking is very simple. You just have to think in a way which nobody else can think of. So you have to think out of the box. You have to think in a different way wherein, you can take out some creativity, you can take out something else, which are usually neglected by others. So that is what creative thinking is.
Right, absolutely right. So let me quickly, start sharing the presentation and quickly take all of you through the presentation outline. Yes. So this is the presentation outline. We'll start with understanding creative thinking, approaches to creative thinking, barriers to creative thinking in the digital age, why is creative thinking important, environmental factors and creative thinking, and techniques to foster creative thinking. So this is the brief outline of the presentation, and we'll be discussing all these points in a webinar today. So I'm so excited to begin with this, but before we start a presentation, there's some activity for all of you just to get you energized. So let's get creative, and it's a story time. So I'll need 3 volunteers for this story. Somebody who thinks we are great storytellers. So I want 3 volunteers. So who would want to volunteer for this activity? I need 3 people. Okay, Umang. And who else? Okay, Kashish and Sagar. Okay, great. Okay, so now I want all of you to tell a story, but there's a catch here. You have to tell a story 1 word at a time. So maybe I can, show a demo to all of you. Manjusha and Kashish, can you help me with the demo? Okay, so suppose I say once, Manjusha will say,
Once.
I'll say upon, Kashish. So if I say once, Manjusha says upon, and
Upon.
a time, once upon a time. So we have to build sentences by connecting the words. Okay. Am I clear? Any confusions? Okay. So another catch here is that I will give you some keywords and you have to build a story on that. So keywords are like, okay. So you 3 characters are Ir, Bir, and Fatte. All right. And you 3 of you go to a jungle and it's a dark, stormy night. So let's hear the story from all of you. So Umang, you can take the lead here.
Once
upon a time.
You just have to say a single word, Sagar.
Oh, sorry. Upon.
We went.
to
There's some noise in the background. Can we please mute ourselves?
Sorry.
Yeah, please. Once upon a time, Aage.
we
Went.
We were.
Okay. Next.
actually I was not here. I wasn't able to hear properly, Saga. So
We were.
I actually did not hear it. Can you please be a little louder, Saga sir?
Sagar, can I
Said we were.
take in place of you, if you don't mind?
We were.
Jungle,
And
Rain started.
hello.
Okay, I'll take his place.
Okay.
Once upon a
Yes,
time.
Umang.
Haunted. We saw a haunted bungalow. Kashish.
and we move in and we
Umang.
When
Inside. And open the
door.
and
we
the door.
saw
We saw a watchman with,
Lamp.
okay.
he
I-
was
I would want to involve others also. If they want to add something to the story, they can also add some lines here. Let's make it more interesting with all the elements and characters. Anybody else?
Shall I?
Yes.
Rashmi? The watchman was running out of the bungalow horrified. Statements can we use its only word?
Try to use 2 or 3 words.
Okay. Watchman was horrified.
I
Umang?
asked.
We heard terrifying noises.
Okay. Okay. And we all ran away from the haunted bungalow.
And then we saw
A ghost coming in.
So the ghost was coming after you, Umang, I guess. Okay, well, that was a different way of, telling a story. So how, you have to in tandem tell a story. It is really challenging, but at the same time, it's very creative as well, because you don't know what word will be, coming out from the other person's, storyline. So this was an interesting activity. Thanks for volunteering, Umang, Kashish, Sagar, Manjusha. So we move on to the next slide. Let's move on to some knowledge here now. We move on to understanding what is creative thinking. So like Umang said, thinking out of the box. Anybody else who wants to give a different meaning to creative thinking?
Having a unique or different idea.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Okay, so creative thinking can be gaining new insights and different ideas through existing information. It is the ability to come up with unique, original solutions. It is to bring a fresh and sometimes unorthodox perspective to the fore, basically to break the existing thought patterns. Because we are in a habit of, having a similar thought pattern, and we always think on that line. So to break that, thought pattern and devising new ways to carry out tasks, solve problems, and meet challenges. So there are so many connotations to creative thinking because it is creative. So there has to be different, different meanings to creative thinking. And that is why it is basically to consider things from a fresh perspective and a very different angle than the usual route. So this is creative thinking. So after this, we move on to approaches to creative thinking. So creative thinking is a skill. Now we know that it's a skill, and a lot of people are very good at creative thinking and some people are not, but this can be honed. This skill can be honed, and this can be developed gradually with different practices. So there are few approaches to creative thinking. Let's talk about the approaches to creative thinking now. So we'll talk of divergent thinking and lateral thinking first. Divergent thinking. It is basically a process where a person uses the flexibility, fluency, and originality to explore as many solutions or options to a problem or issue as possible. So if we talk in, a layman's language, if we have to go to our office or a destination, we always take a single route. We never think of different ways to reach our office. But yes, when it rains or when there is a 26th January Republic Day function, we think of different routes. The routes are diverted. We take different routes. So to reach one destination, we use different routes. So that is basically to approach one problem or one issue, we take different routes rather than one route. So convergent thinking is where we take only one single route of solution, but divergent thinking is one where we take different routes or different ways to solve a problem. So let me give you an example here. Rangde is basically a peer-to-peer, lending platform where the lender is directly connected to the consumer, mostly the underserved sections of the society. So in this way, they are reducing the operational costs and they are lending the money at a very low interest rate. So this has diverted from the traditional microfinance banking system where there are middlemen and the operational costs are heavy. So this is a divergent thinking example. Any thoughts on this? Any thoughts or views here or any other example if someone wants to give? Okay, let's move on to lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is based on avoiding the intrinsic limitations in the brain. So let me put it in a simple manner. Like when we grow up, we have preconceived notions and we always think in a similar pattern. but lateral thinking is basically to break that pattern. And so it is basically to think out of the box in a distinctive way to get over the existing patterns that we have for approaching a problem. So when we think of an ATM in a village, ATM in a rural area, we think of, searching for a place first, then putting up an ATM machine, then getting the network there, internet network there. Then we think of electrical supply. And when we talk of rural areas, we really can't bank on the electrical supply. It is not regular, it is rampant, and it can be disrupted by, natural calamities. So Vortex Engineering came up with a solution to tackle this problem. They installed solar-powered ATMs in rural areas, where the people could have access to banking even in the rural areas without being dependent on the regular electricity supply. So this was basically an out-of-the-box thinking of resolving the basic banking amenities in the rural areas. Any ideas or thoughts here if somebody wants to add on to it? You can use chat box as well. Yes, Umang.
So I think one of the important, I can say there is one case study which is recently published about BSNL, right? So obviously we all know that BSNL played a very important role when we had at early 20s, so 2005 to 7 era, correct?
Right.
But after certain time when Jio and Airtel came, so it got diminished a little bit. So what they did is they tried to take private players here, and the most important thing is they only chose Tata for this because Tata is a trust for many people in this particular country. So they chose Tata, the only one to deal with it, and they have obviously sanctioned for 15,000 crores actually, to build up that 4G network because they did not have that money. So whatever the money they had, they were investing it into the salaries and the constructions, and obviously employees are, these are the government employees, so they have to pay the salary on regular basis. So this is one thing that they have taken Tata into the trust, and they have, tried to, maintain that 4G level. Right now they are in 4G, but they are expecting to do it 5G also in 2025. But still, this is something that they have done out of the box, I believe.
Right, right. Yes, Arman. It's a manner of solving problems, of using it. Absolutely correct, Arman. Thanks for the input. Yes. So moving on to the next approach to creative thinking, we come to aesthetic thinking. So aesthetic has to do with beauty and taste. So we know that, there are people, we say that, okay, iska aesthetic sense bahut acha hai, iska aesthetic sense bilkul acha nahi hai. So what do you mean by aesthetic sense is that, somebody, it involves producing or discovering things which are pleasant, harmonious, and beautiful to our senses. And when we talk of aesthetic thinking, we think of visual or spatial, and we think of architects, designers, who are always, fascinated with patterns, ratios, and proportions. They have to have things in symmetry. There has to have symmetry in everything they make. And when we talk of music, drama, and other forms of culture, that is also another way of aesthetic thinking. So when we look at this Amul's advertising campaign, which features the Amul girl, and this is one of the favorite characters. I think everyone, whenever there's an Amul advertisement in newspaper, we make sure that we have to see it. And they really make it, hilarious and engaging, and they pick up the most current favorite topic. In this case, it's about the voting. So they use always witty and visually appealing cartoons to make it more engaging, and the customer engages very well, and it has more retention, when it's aesthetic, and it effectively communicates the brand also. So this is about aesthetic thinking. I think you all would agree here when it comes to aesthetic thinking that it's a very important approach to creative thinking. Do you agree with me? You can use the chat box. All right. Thank you. So moving on to Next approach, we have systems thinking. Yes, I can see some messages. Yes. Yeah. So aesthetic thinking, I think it plays everywhere, at your homes, at your offices. You cannot escape, aesthetic thinking. So now comes the system thinking. Now, this is one of the most important approach to creative thinking, which is basically synthesis towards a whole. What it means? It is the ability to see how things are interrelated and form a larger whole. So we know there are some people who are always good at, perceiving these links. When they see the entire picture, they know that if one element is taken out, entire thing will collapse. They can perceive it as a whole. And that is the most important aspect of creative thinking, to see thing as a whole, to connect the dots, basically to connect the dots and how it will make a complete picture. So, Delhi Metro is one of the prime examples of system thinking here. I would really, appreciate our Metro man, Sri E. Sridharan, who had this, amazing system thinking ability, his team also. Because when they wanted to make Metro effective, they linked it with all the, small segments of different modes of transport, whether it is bus, whether it is auto, whether it is cycle rickshaw, whether it is, bicycles. They knew if these systems were not in place, the metro will not be effective. So they could perceive that, that before setting up the metro, we have to have these systems in place so that it forms a complete system, then only it will run effectively. And everyone knows how, Delhi Metro was successful and how this model was implemented in other cities of India as well. So that is one of the prime examples of, systems thinking when it comes to creative thinking. Now we move on to inspirational thinking. This is basically the perception of receiving insights from somewhere or someone else. So basically you get, suddenly you have a problem at home, you go to office and suddenly you see something or observe something, and then you suddenly, okay, fine, this is the solution to that problem. This is my eureka moment. So it is basically the eureka moment. You suddenly get an inspiration out of somewhere. Maybe you observe someone, maybe you follow someone, and that is how you get the inspiration from. So it can be, sudden bursts of activity, or, suddenly in your dream or in your thoughts, you get an inspiration, or maybe you idolize someone and you follow that, route of that particular person. So here in this case, I would like to quote example of 𝘊𝗶𝗋, who is
Let's take examples from the participants here,
yeah,
right?
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
why not? Because let's see who have got recently, or you have got some inspiration from someone and that has given a solution to your problem.
Fine. So
Yes.
let's talk. Okay, someone can please, you can tell about your inspiration, who you follow to get inspired.
Other than Umang, please.
Yes, I think we have a lot of, role models to be inspired from. So it should not be a difficult question. Okay. Aparna ma'am, Arman has quoted your name. He gets inspired by you.
No, actually, a lot of inspiration we get. And I think to get the inspiration, very important thing is this, we need to meet new people. We
Absolutely.
need to read something new. We need to follow new people, because if we meet people, then only we will get a lot of solutions. Like, for example, I work very passionately in the area of content. And recently I was seeing some of the videos and I was very nice, very amazed to see how people have done their branding. Like, for example, if we want to give what is Protouch is known for, let people tell what Protouch is known for. If we have engaging content like that, and then we feel, oh, this is how the consumers are perceiving us. Or, for example, you just give PR dash fill in the blanks and let people write Protouch, then you are talking about Protouch, So this is a very recently I came across this kind of a content. And in fact, content team also has one WhatsApp group where we share the inspirations, right? So there are many, many things which we can learn from each other in sales, in problem solving, in HR. Like yesterday evening, I was speaking to one of the senior HR professional, and he said, how do they evaluate people before even they go for the first round of interviews? How they have to go through their assessments, how do they need to send their video resume, and then decide whether you want to take him, because those who are not genuine candidates will give up. अरे इतना कौन करेगा एक जॉब के लिए, जो इतना नहीं कर सकता वो काम क्या करेगा, right? So that was an inspiration for me to work. I think this is what inspirational thoughts are. That's what I feel. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for your inputs. So I think every one of us has a role model, and we want to, imbibe so many things from our role models and get inspired from them. So like here, I was talking about 𝘊𝗵𝗿, who basically, got together all the, underprivileged, marginalized sections of women, made them into a trade union, and then they got together, and then they got financially independent. And basis that, a lot of organizations and NGOs copied this model, and it became very successful. So that is about inspirational thinking. Another example can be Dr. 𝘊𝗵𝗿, who spearheaded the rocket and missile operations in India. And a lot of people, get inspired by him and follow this stream of engineering, space research. So these are the approaches to creative thinking, a skill that can be, honed and developed over a period of time. So let's move on to, okay, when we talk of, now we know that, it is one of the most important skills. And what would you think that, how many, do you think the organizations rate these skills as important while, selecting a candidate? What are your thoughts on this? I think there would be a lot of HR people here. So do you really assess the candidates on this parameter while interviewing the candidates? How creative the person is? Yes, I can see Manjusha. Okay, so yes, it is a very important trait, and let's see how is it important. So according to, about 73% of organizations who were surveyed in World Economic Forum, Futures of Job Survey, reported that creative thinking skill was a top priority when they were considering talent, when they were recruiting people. Statista says that about 70% of the companies surveyed consider creative thinking and analytical thinking to be as one of the most, topmost skill between 23 and 27. And about 11.3 million employees from 800 organizations were surveyed for this report. So these are the statistics. Now we know that, why, how this skill is so important, and we have to develop this skill. But again, when we talk of digital age, there are so many barriers that, disrupt the development of creative thinking. So let's talk about barriers to creative thinking. So, so barriers are basically, the obstructions which are there, which prevents us from creative thinking. The first barrier is information overload. So we are in, we have access to such vast amount of information these days, and that it overwhelms us, and it, limits our brain's ability to think beyond that information. We are constantly living in that loop altogether and never go beyond that pattern. So do you agree with me, all of you? Do you feel that there is a lot of information overload? Thank you. Thanks for agreeing to me. I think everyone is facing this nowadays in the digital age. Next is instant gratification. I want it now. We are in an instant world. We want instant coffee. We want instant food. We want everything instant. Even relationships have become instant nowadays. So we have so much expectation of quick results that we do not want to go towards, thinking complex ideas. Because when we talk of complex or something innovative, it will take time. It will take time, and we just can't, we don't have time because we want everything instantly. Everything has to be fast paced. So because of this, the creative thinking is disrupted, because when there is no time, there will be no creative thinking. So next barrier is lack of face-to-face interaction. So lack of face-to-face interaction means that when we are meeting, physically, we are meeting people physically in person, there is so much exchange of ideas, information, and a lot of, collaborative thinking takes place. But because of, a lot of remote work options coming up nowadays, this has stopped because people are virtually connected. So there is no collaborative thinking, there is no discussion, so there are no new ideas coming up, so there is no creative thinking happening. So that is lack of face-to-face interaction. Anybody wants to quote an example here? Do you face this in your life? Do you feel that going to office is better or remote work option is better? Any example?
Lack of face interaction is, if you are not talking to one person, the other, you're not inspiring the other person as well. So when you talk to someone, and the third person or the fourth person who's listening to you could get inspired and could come out with innovative ideas, or could inculcate things in their life.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right, Arman. Absolutely.
And only when you inculcate things, you incorporate them yourself as well.
Absolutely. I totally agree to it. So next barrier is distractions. So we are always distracted in digital era. There is so much distraction. There is constant notifications, emails, WhatsApp messages. So, a simple example here would be, suppose I log into my system and then suddenly I log in for some important work and then I drift towards WhatsApp. I go through all the messages. Then after some time, I drift towards Instagram. Then I again go through some reels and entertain myself. And then okay, this mail is important. Let me respond to it. And when 30-40 minutes have passed by, I realize, oh God, what exactly was I supposed to do and where I've gone? So these are the distractions. So when we are distracted, the focus is lost. We can't think enough. We don't contemplate. And this, we have to be focused if we want to be a creative thinker. If there is no focus, no creative thinking will happen. So we see a lot of, story writers or poets, they often go to lonely places because they want that space. They want that, me time so that they can write well. They can put, some mind to their thoughts. So next barrier is reduced downtime. So in digital age, what we often see is that whenever we have, some free time on our hand, we want to watch some web series, or we want to watch some movie, or we want a device. Even the children, they don't know the concept of getting bored. They don't know what it feels to, get bored. My daughter comes to me and says, "Ki Mama, I want something. What should I do?" I said, at times you should also feel what is it like to get bored. So nowadays we are so used to devices that whenever we have some free time on hand, we just want to have, want to spend it on the screen or some social media platform, which is so disruptive to creative thinking process. Because earlier when we were free and we didn't have these social media platforms, we used to do something creative. We used to do something creative, maybe some craft, or maybe cooking something, cooking a new recipe, or maybe decorating a corner in our house in a creative way. But this all has stopped because we put all the time on the social media. Then there's loss of privacy and fear of judgment. The digital world doesn't lack, it lacks privacy, it lacks judgment. We have to behave in a certain way, we have to perform in a certain way. And because we are so much influenced by the digital world that we forget to think creatively. We forget to bring a new perspective to anything. So that is really disruptive to creative thinking because we are always influenced by what is shown on the social media. Then echo chambers and filter bubbles. These are basically the algorithms which are laid down by the social media platforms. I believe all of you would be knowing algorithms are basic rules laid down by social media platforms so as to, only the similar kind of content can be posted or similar kind of content can be seen. And we are so fixated by that we just can't go beyond that. We are only used to seeing and we start believing in what they show. We lose our thought process. We lose our originality in thinking. We just believe what is shown in the social media is ought to be true, and what we think cannot be right. So that is how badly we are affected by social media platforms, and it is disruptive, very, very disruptive to creative thinking process. Then we have technological dependence. Of course, we have become slaves to social media platform. We have become slaves to technology. Technology is good, but over-reliance on technology is equally bad because it hampers the creative thinking process. It limits our beliefs. We can't go beyond certain thought patterns. We are thinking in the same loops which we see on the social media platforms. So these were the barriers to creative thinking. And I think everybody would agree to me that these play on our minds and we have stopped thinking creatively. So now that we know that creative thinking is an important skill, so why it is important, how it can be developed, and what factors, helps in the development of creative thinking will be taken over by my colleague Manjusha. Over to you, Manjusha. Thank you all of you for being patient listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rashmi. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank Preeti for such a lovely introduction of mine and Rashmi. Thank you, Rashmi, for bringing your knowledge to the table. The storytelling was amazing, I must say. So the ghost and everything. I will start my presentation with a small activity. So everyone ready? So this is going to be a little fun. Here it is called as transformation of the object. Say example for day-to-day life, we use regular objects. Like if I'll take a couple of objects and show it to you all. And I want you all to use your chat boxes for your responses. Say example, this is the coffee mug that I'm holding. This is used for what? To drink coffee or tea or hot water or anything like that. I want you all to go creative and put your answers in the chat box. It can be, other usages of this coffee mug. It can be used, example, okay, started again. Oh, I got it. It's to make mug cake, okay. Paperweight, yes, of course, Sagar. And somebody already written. What are the plans? Yes, Sheila. Planter, Anushka, yes. Yes, go on. It's quite interesting. And I'll show there again one more object, that is a pen. A stationery holder, yes, Kashish. This I can use as a small sword, a tiny sword. Or a magic wand. Yeah, making messy buns, yes, of course. Small things like coins and pins, yes, of course, Sagar. The coffee mug usage. Okay, anything for the pen? Anything for the pen?
For holding paper, like in school when we are writing, so we hold a cap on a side so that it will not flip again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kashish. Yeah, pen fight. Yes, of course. As a bookmark, yes. Okay, thank you. So I use, I think like this coffee mug can be a bathtub. The small insects. Little being creepy. I know, but anyways, we will not use that. Yeah, this pen as magic wand, I told you. Yeah, so we can go creative. Thank you so much for participating in this small activity. Yes, Rashmi wants to say something.
Yeah, I have an interesting use for the pen. We always, if it's a 2-pin plug and if it's a power plug, we use the pen to lift the upper pin of the plug and insert the 2-pin plug.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, we do. Everybody does that. So I want to thank each and everybody who has participated in this small activity and bring your creativity. So which means that the pen is not only to write, but also it has several usages. Even it goes with the coffee mug as well. So which means that creativity is not being in a certain way. You can go wild, you can think out of the box, right? So with that, are we all excited? Yes, thank you. Good to see that. And I want Rashmi to please share the screen of my presentation. So how it is important, the creative thinking, what do you think, how it is important? Like, what is the impact of being creative thinking? Anybody wants to contribute to this? How it is important? It is important in innovation and economic growth. Do you all agree? Enhances mindset. Yes, Sakshi. Yes, it is. Enhances our mindset and growth. Our personal growth and others. Okay. Thank you, Kanika. So creative thinking is important. How is creative thinking important? Innovation and economic growth, technological advancement, educational transformation, global challenges and sustainability, and complex problem solving. Having said that, creative thinking is being the fuel of innovation, and which leads to the economic growth. Say, for example, if we see Tata Motors they have come up with electronic vehicles, right? So anybody can contribute here the latest launch of Tata Motors electronic vehicle, which has created, a great buzz these days. It's a big hit. Can anybody tell me the brand name, the car name? Tata Neon? Yes. Tata Nexon? Nexon EV? Yes. Yes, Rashmi. Which has actually, they have launched in 2020 World Cup, which we won. Okay. Tata Tigaro.
Tiger.
Okay. Tigaro. Okay. Sorry. Pratyaksh. Okay, I will tell the name of that car that they have launched in 2020 World Cup that we recently launched. I mean, we won. That is Tata Punch. It's a great success, and everybody are doing bookings for that car. So it has actually, being creative is innovation, and while in this process there is a lot of jobs are also being involved, which leads to economic growth. Can you believe that Tata holds a 60% share in electronic vehicle industry in India, and 2% GDP in India's economic growth? So being creative gives these many results. And technological, yes, Shivraman, they are going to launch Tata Curve SUV. Oh, okay. Good information, Shivraman. Thank you. So technological advancements, as we all know that how AI and ChatGPT and all these technological advancements, which has a lot of creative opportunities. Educational transformation, if we talk about educational transformation, during COVID, it is not, what is the best example we can quote here? If anybody wants to volunteer, I would really appreciate if somebody comes in front and talk about educational transformation, especially after COVID. What is the biggest change that we have seen in this particular thing? Anybody would want to contribute? What do you think, how it has? Online, yes. Online classes.
Online sessions, online.
Yes. Yes.
Shall I?
The platform that we are standing now, yeah. Protouch also, has we approach Protouch. It's one of the form, like, we get certified and certification courses that Protouch is giving. See, it was not before COVID, or it was not, I could say, like, it was not this much popularity that educational transformation has got. After this COVID, it has become big market. Like, I'm Manjusha, sitting here in South Andhra Pradesh, Vijayawada. I'm able to do a course in Protouch. So it has become, Protouch is somewhere in the north, right? Delhi. So we are able to do courses and get education and global challenges and sustainability. When it comes to global challenges and sustainability, we often see for the sustainability, like how the Tata Motors have come into electronic vehicles and all. And complex problem solving. What I want to ask a question here. What was the great problem, or globally we faced, and how we overcome it? We overcame, actually. Anybody wants to say on complex problem solving, how creativity actually take a vital role? I want to share here about the COVID situation. We are globally connected. We are globally so interconnected that during pandemic, how India has performed, being creative, went ahead and helped other countries with, testing kits and testing tools. It could be like vaccination, sending it, and how we have used pandemic also creative for our creative use. Do you all agree on this? Yes. Anything else that you want to contribute here? Anybody wants to contribute here? How we can go creative in problem solving? Anybody wants to volunteer? Okay.
By planning, by planning the right way.
Yes.
That's one. First you need to you need to work with your thought process. Then you start planning, and when your planning is perfect, then that's the time you execute your program, whatsoever it is. Like the PPT that you're showing right now, you first worked on it. After working, first you planned, you worked on it, you read everything, you did your research properly, you inculcated everything, incorporated everything, and then that's how you're presenting this now. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely, Arman.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Arman. So this is how creative thinking is important and why it is important. And now creative thinking, as soon as we hear creative thinking, we always think of, there are factors like environmental factors. There's this I want to share here, there's this movie, South Indian film director named Puri Jagannath. Okay, he's the film director and he often goes to Bangkok to write his stories. He gets motivated there and he has delivered pretty good films. I want you all to, I want to share, there's this movie called Wanted, starring Salman Khan, was directed by this man called Puri Jagannath. So you can imagine how creative he can think of, until that movie has come to, telecasted. Pokhri, yes, Shivramanji, yes, it is Pokhri, starring Mahesh Babu. It was a great hit. We were not expecting the twists and turns in that movie. We were all, even that film, whoever watched that film, were amazed with the twist that he has got into the movie. Their physical, that is kind of creative thinking, environmental factors impacts creative thinking. Coming to the physical environment, organizational environment, social Janagana Mana, upcoming movie. Yes, yes. Puri Jagannath's next movie is that. Thank you. Social and cultural
Yeah, I would
environment.
like to contribute on physical environment here.
Yeah.
Okay. We use this concept very long back in Protouch. And we say, because whatever you say that managers are approachable, founder or directors are approachable, हमें लगता है we are very approachable, but team will not find it. And even though we are approachable, there is a mind programming done, right? That seniors hai, so you have to think twice, and all these things are there. So even though we say, okay, no, speak, people will not speak, right? So we have one thing called popcorn. Okay. So popcorn, the name came like the idea comes to a person like a popcorn. It pops out. And that is where many participants of ours or team members give a lot of ideas to us. And we see whether we can execute or not or whatever. And we got many ideas from there. And we say, okay, whether it is execute, we are able to execute or not, we will see later. But just put the ideas. So we have that initiative where many people think creatively on content, employee experience, and a lot of products. That is another thing. And we also had physical environment. I would like to give you example. That is very long back, we had a concept of bhadas. Once in a month, we used to call it as a bhadas. That was a campaign we ran in Protouch, where no one will sit on the chairs, right? We will shout, scream before the event, and everyone will sit on the floors. Okay. And we will not think with whom we are speaking, what are we doing, but we will give ideas, we will talk, what can we do better? We will say what the worst thing is happening here. For example, don't take it otherwise. I'm saying how boring webinars are going, how can we improve, how can we change the way of webinars right now happening, how boring it is. If we say that, right, some people must be having that thought in mind, but they are not able to speak. But in bhadas, hum log dil se bolte the, right? And from there, we used to challenge our status quo and see that what changes we can bring in, how we can make it different. It's like, wow. I think, and that is where the physical environment comes into the picture, that no table chairs, nothing. You are sitting down nicely, throwing things to each other, and then you start talking your mind. We generated many ideas in Bhadas. So that's a physical environment we need to create to actually bring on guests from people. वो formal environment में कई बार लोग नहीं बात कर सकते वैसे.
Okay. Thank you, Aparna, for sharing. I'm so excited. I'm started visualizing Bhadas, how it is going in Protouch. So thank you for sharing. And coming to social and cultural environment, already discussed, and psychological environment and economic environment. So here I want to share one small scenario regarding economic environment, how the challenges how creative we can go while, it is being challenging. I want to share a small scenario which happened, real-time scenario. During 1940s, India's dairy industry was struggling and farmers were being exploited by middlemen. In response, Amul, under the leadership of Dr. 𝘀𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀, introduced the cooperative model. This creative approach empowered farmers by giving them ownership and control over production, processing, and marketing of milk. The model led to the White Revolution, making India one of the largest producers of milk and milk products. Now we know, the journey of Amul. So while it was quite challenging, economically challenging, and they have come up with creative thoughts, and they have implemented this cooperative model, and how it has become a great success now. India is out of India, everybody thinks of Amul, taste of India, how it has become the taste of India. So which means like creative thing, economic challenges also will give you being creative. Can anybody share your experience on this? Where you have faced any economical challenges and where your creativity actually worked and gave you a success. Anybody wants to contribute on this?
Whole India works on it. It says a jugaad. We have so much economical challenges that we want to have jugaad everywhere, right? So kitchen में तो बिल्कुल रोज जुगाड़ चलता है.
Yeah.
Economical crisis, yes.
Yes, all of a sudden, this sudden guests will be arriving and we'll be left with only some vegetables. And we have to make something nice for them for the lunch. And only one bhindi, one aloo will be there. And South Indians always make sambar out of it.
I think no one can beat Indians in jugaad. I think
Yeah. Yes, yes.
In fact, now there are different trainings are happening that how to not to get into jugaad and get into the long-term permanent solution than only short-term solutions, right?
Yeah, there's this example I just occurred to me. This was basically Parle G example. While packaging, sometimes it used to happen कि खाली packet उस पे belt पे चला जाता था. बाद में they used to find out कि it's an empty packet and there are no biscuits in it. So a simple jugaad was made. They put up a pedestal fan there. जैसी pedestal fan के सामने वो खाली packet आता था, it used to fly away. And that's how, that's such a simple solution to a, it's a complicated problem.
See, I don't want to make this session very emotional, but in my generation, there were more than 40% people were cable chore. That cable, antenna के ऊपर से ले जाओ cable की wire ताकि I should be able to see all the channels. Economical challenges, we became creative, yes or no?
Yes.
Right. We never had ACs or something like that, but hot, of course, the weather was humid, hot, and I still recall my mother used to make our gaddas cold by just sprinkling some water, little bit water, so that those gaddas will become cold and we will go to sleep. She used to be so creative कि I don't know, South India में तो ये बहुत है. सब जगह पे था कि हम शाम में पानी डालते थे मिट्टी के ऊपर.
Yes.
है ना? और फिर रंगोली भी होती थी, सुबह भी होती थी, शाम में भी होती थी. So my mother used to do that, and after that she used to put a fan so that it used to get a cold air. Just see how people were economically challenged, and still they wanted to have those solutions. So I think economical challenges certainly brings a lot of creative thinking.
Yes, yes. Yes, thank you, Abhirna. You reminded me my childhood days. My mother used to put cloths in that moris and she used to put a lot of buckets of water. Okay, and we used to, so that we can get a good sleep. Yeah. Our mothers are actually more creative, I must say, Indians. Yes, Richa. My daughter's on says it went off. Okay, so these are the environmental factors and how it has a great impact on creative thinking. So now we will see how to foster, what are the techniques in fostering creative thinking. There are brainstorming techniques, creative collaboration tools, building creative habits. So brainstorming techniques, we all know, we have done in Protouch training as well. So creative collaboration tools, we have Zoom, we have Google Meets, where we can get collaborative with others and get in touch with other trainers or other people where we can go creative and we can get collaborative and where we can get creative. And building creative habits, like we have to take out time, we have to make sure that we take time for this creative thing. Let it be like 1 hour per day, or maybe a couple of hours in a week, and we have to maintain that consistency so that it will become a habit, and try to be creative and jot down the ideas. And I will share few apps also. I have researched and bought it here. For I just want to name them. Probably many of people knows about these apps. There's this app called Mind Mister for mind mapping, and for brain training we have something called as Google Jamboard for brain writing. And scammer technique, there's the scammer technique, which is actually a substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. This technique can be, it's a checklist of questions which will help to think differently. And we can use this app called Lucid Chart to visualize our scammer process, how it is, tracking. We can track our ideas and all. And creative collaborations, I've already mentioned Microsoft Teams and Zoom meetings. We have so many applications where we can go collaborative and get creative. Coming to the last one, getting the habit, this daily creative practice we need to have. And there's this app called 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀, which can help us to build and track these habits by turning them into a game, actually. And journaling, of course, keeping a creativity journal where you can jot down your ideas and thoughts and work on it and get inspiration, get motivated. There is apps called Day One and Evernote, which we can take help and get our lives more easy. And of course, we are all, I must say, like we are all using this Google Calendars to sort out the time and things like that, where we can use these techniques to go creative, which can help in fostering creative thinking. Okay.
Can I share one hack to become how in creative in daily life? How many of
Please.
you want to know that? One hack. Krishnan is saying too. Okay. So this hack from Insta, okay, because I learn a lot of things from Insta. I train people on Insta, I learn from Insta also. So there is a wonderful trend going on that is 333. Okay. What is that 333 is that you need to do this challenge for next 33 days. One. Okay. What is it? With 3 items. Your accessories, your clothes, and your shoes. Okay. Footwear. For next 33 days, you don't have to buy anything for yourself. Just go stand in front of your closet and find out your regular dresses, whatever you have. And you have to make a permutation and combination of it. Okay. And that's how it will look new, but you are wearing the same with different combination. I think these apps will come later, but in a day, if you put your head to do something new every day, that is where your chemicals for creativity will get a boost. So just see how you can take such a small challenges. It can be different accessory, different clothes, different shoes, that you have never or ever wore it in the past. Isn't it wonderful? Right? It will save a lot of money and it will boost your creativity. Believe me, everyone, it works fabulously. So that is how you can get creativity booster every day.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
Yes.
I this. Very interesting. So those are the techniques of how we can foster creative thinking. And there's this real case study how creative thinking impacted Paytm. Like in 2010, India's cash-dominated economy seemed impenetrable to digital payments. Vijay Shekhar Sharma envisioned changing this with Paytm, starting as a mobile recharge platform. Confronting skepticism and regulatory obstacles, Paytm set out to transform the financial landscapes. And creative collaboration approach that they launched educational campaigns to build trust, offering engaging tutorials and attractive cashback rewards. Expanding rapidly, Paytm partnered with diverse merchants and integrated services like bill payments and ticket bookings into their platform, creating a comprehensive digital solution. And they have come up with QR codes. They have brainstorming approach they have made. Innovation was key. QR code payments, until then we never knew something like QR code payments allowed even small vendors to accept digital transactions. While strong security measures ensured your user safety, proactive engagement with regulators helped them navigate the complex financial landscape and secure necessary licenses. Paytm's strategy paid off, evolving into a household name and global fintech leader. Their success demonstrates how creativity, education, and innovation can turn challenges into groundbreaking achievements. So this is the case study. We all know how Paytm has, come up with this innovation, very creative thinking of getting digital payments. Even my son, he's just 6 years old. And when Amazon guy come for the delivery, if I'm cashless, I do not have a cash, then he says like, Paytm karo. He says that. So how they have got into even children's brain, like, their advertisement, their creative, being very creative in their advertisement, how they have marketed their business to small vendors. Now, recent times, I heard that I've seen actually in social media, digital payment is very much accessible. It's very much accessible even to a fruit vendor side में जो खड़ा करते हैं फल fruits बेचते हैं. For them also they are using this digital payments. So not for 10 rupees, 20 rupees also. So India is growing, like I have seen this video, like India is growing, it's still growing करके सब लोग बोलते हैं India has grown actually, in digital payment system. So how creative thinking matters, this is the real case study that we know actually it exists and it's a big hit and the success that we know. So, yeah, anybody wants to share anything on this digital payment and how it has become, you all agree, right? Okay. Thank you. So we have come to the end of the session. So there's this saying, bumper sticker that we have come up with. Think left and think right, and think low and think high. Or things you can think up if only you tried. This is saying by Dr. 𝘁𝗂'𝗋. So you need to think all the ways possible and go out of the box and think and, use that creativity, use that creative genre, creative space from your mind, and then things will come up newly. It will start appearing new to you. Yes? Okay, Vanish. Yes, Vanish has to say something. Please, Vanish.
Hi, Manjusha.
Hi, Vanish.
Hi, Rashmi. It is a great, fantastic presentation that I am watching today, and really happy to see you people perform. This was amazing, really. A lot of information coming in. I'm sure a lot of participants will gain good stuff from it.
Thank you so much, Vanish. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one thing I wanted to say, necessity is the mother of all invention, right?
Yes.
And it happens for creativity also. The examples that you gave for women working in kitchen and all the time innovating on the बच्चे तो बोल देते हैं मम्मी कुछ चाहिए अब वो कुछ क्या है वो नहीं पता.
Absolutely.
As simple
So-
as roti pizza coming up.
So a lot of things start happening. So creative thinking doesn't really happen when you are forced to do creative thinking. It happens when you're at ease. So that is all I wanted to add, that just keep yourself at ease and be relaxed. A lot of thoughts come when we are in the washroom. So yeah, that happens. So it may not happen on the working chair, but it happens when we are at ease.
Yeah.
So just
Basically,
keep yourself open to it.
Basically have lots of downtime whenever you're free. Don't go to social, devices and social
Yes.
platforms. Rather think.
Yes. Give yourself time.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much,
you,
guys.
Manish.
It's been a fantastic presentation. Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
Thank you, Manish. Yes, Umang.
So thank you so much, Rashmi and Manjusha. I really would like to appreciate. I really like this particular webinar because the best thing that I found in this webinar was rather than only having information, you already had real life examples. So this is something which builds the trust as well, that yes, these are the things which are happening. Although I was also very curious to give examples like 𝘁𝗶𝗍 and 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗍, Amul. So these are the very creative people that we have seen. White Revolution, very well informed by Manjusha, and Rashmi, 𝘁𝗶𝗍 about. So I also wanted to inform that thing about the 5 rupees packet. Still they have 10 biscuits in it, but
Yes.
the quantity has been decreased now. So
But it's still
also
so much in circulation.
exactly. So thank you so much. It was really insightful, and keep giving us information like this always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Umang. Thanks a lot.
I can totally agree with all the examples they use. And personally, I found the aesthetic thinking the most, you can say, relevant for today's era. And it was a really great session. Can we have a great round of applause for both the trainer?
Thank you. Means a lot. Means a lot.
Thank
So
you.
Manjusha, Manjusha, can I
so-
give you a feedback?
Yes, please, Sarman.
When you read, you're reading perfect, but when you're talking, I'm into speaking, I'm into public speaking and in communication. So the
Yes.
reason why I'm giving you this feedback is because I always, whenever I come here, I always give someone or the other feedback on their communication. So you need to work on your communication. You make a lot of mistakes, grammatical mistakes you made, you were doing repetitive, but yes, grammaticals were too many this time.
Okay.
Just work on that. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you,
Otherwise,
Sarman. I really
both are-
appreciate.
You're both an excellent pair.
Yeah,
Thank you.
your feedback always, I remember your feedback and I am smiling most of the time in the presentation now.
I know you get conscious when I talk, but it's like that.
So yeah,
I even remember I have to give you something, but I'm not getting time to send it over,
it's very important to get a genuine feedback, that helps you improve and work on yourself.
For the two of you, I will definitely send you something where
Sure.
you can go through that, and I'm sure your communication will sound like how I'm talking at the moment.
We'll really look forward to it.
Yeah,
Really great.
sure.
Bye.
Arman. Thank you so much.
Bye, Kashish.
Bye. Thank you. So if anyone have anything to share or any kind of things they learned, they can share.
Sure.
All right. So I think no one have any questions to ask. So we can end the session now. Thank you everyone for joining.
Mhm.